Welcome to Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast. This is episode 21. I'm Tags, aka Justin.
I'm Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
21 weeks. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty sweet.
Well, I think it's a little less. I think we had a couple bonus episodes in there. Right?
21 means we're 3 times the typical death rate.
That's just
podcast. Although I feel like there's probably a lot of podcasts right now. I haven't really listened, but with everybody being stuck at home, probably a bigger thing now, maybe.
I mean, we're fortunate enough to have the setup.
Nothing nearly as good as us, but
no. Even people that don't like Path of Exile are listening to us. They're like, "Oh, I can't wait for this talk about this game we don't play."
It's true. All right, so how was your week? What are we in? I think we're in the second week of like self-isolating now, right?
Well,
Almost
let me
into the
thank
third?
you. My Friday got a lot better when I got a knock at the door today. And then I heard some scampering away across the lawn, and we opened the door, and there were some nice flowers sitting on our doorstep. And your wife with her big smile, some of your kids in the back, just with a big smile, yelling, "Happy Friday!" They had a box in the front, so they were going around doing some rounds. You have a fantastic family. So my Friday, which is today, got a lot better today. Thank you.
I'm super happy. Some other people messaged too, and they were like, "Oh, that was so kind of you." I'm like, whatever. I had to go out and buy those stupid flowers, which
You brought COVID home to make their Friday.
I had to go out and pick up stuff, and she's like, "Can you please go by here and buy 24 flowers?" I'm like, "No, what are you talking about? What do you need 24 flowers for?" Like, and I'm not talking flowers. We're talking like, I don't know what you call them.
Yeah. No,
like
you got an arrangement that
flower.
Actually came in a pot. It's not even like a crappy basket. It's like this nice ceramic pot. You went out and spent $1 bajillion to make people's Fridays, so thank you.
That's not me. That's not me at all.
Still,
you would have got nothing if it was up to
me. you snapped your heels and saluted, so it came from you. But no,
True.
it's
Anyway,
been a good week. It's been a lot of fun. I had some time to do some guide touch-ups, and my filter, I think, is done with the thanks of Jamie from Discord, who's helping out, and things are looking good. It's been a good and busy week, and I can tell you, I am thinking about other builds while I play this build, you betcha.
Like new ones, entire new ones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so let me talk about it. So I have been thinking about, there's those skills like Dominating Blow where you have, it tells you when I guess Dominating Blow is just with uniques, but there's others where it's if you hit a rare or a unique enemy, you have a 10% or 25% chance to spawn, like Herald of Purity. It's, what is it, a 20% chance to spawn a Herald when you hit a rare or unique, and then all the other ones have their chances. What is it? Summon Phantasm Summon, whatever it's called. So all those skills, I was thinking of doing like an on-hit minion build where it's just those ones that have a chance to show. I thought that would be awesome.
What's your hit? What's your skill to hit?
Dominating Blow.
Oh.
So it'd have to be console only for me. But pretty sweet. And then I'd just use SRS to get around the map until I got to a boss fight, and then I would totally change it. So it'd be sweet.
This is what you spent your week thinking about?
But like all week, my wife's like, what are you thinking about? Like she's
You're
thinking
like,
I'm like thinking about finances or like something important. And I'm like, PoE, she's
do
like,
you think Dominating Blow would work?
That's right. She's like,
This is what I've got.
Yeah. How was your week?
My week was very busy. It was good though. Let me think. I feel like I've been on Zoom at least half the week. I'm kind of getting tired of that just with work stuff, but I have had a reasonable amount of time to play, which has been nice.
But it's actually been work stuff. It's not like Zoom doing all that Jackbox TV and stuff.
No.
For all your beds.
We did do Zoom games night with you and your wife and some friends, and then I did it with another group of friends as well. It's pretty fun.
You have another group of friends?
I know. They don't play Path of Exile though, so you're safe. I don't think they even know video games.
Why are you friends with? Oh, come on, another group of friends.
But I do like that. It's kind of cool. Like when you're stuck at home, still being able to play games, with like our group of friends and stuff. It was fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
Especially because they don't play Path of Exile, so. And you can drink and not be worried about dying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. All right. So how's your build now? What is your build again? What are you playing right now?
Well,
See,
I don't know. I feel like I tell you at least once a week, but let me tell
forget
you
all
again.
the time, and
That's
we even
okay.
play through the week.
Hold
on, Vortex.
Way to go! Good for you. And what's my primary health?
1.
I guess that's correct. Yes, I'm Chaos Inoculation. So I'm the Occultist, and I've gone with cold damage over time with Vortex.
So
Chaos
what level did you go CI? Like what's sort of your recommendation for people?
Well, what's it called? Beating a dead horse? Is that what it's called?
Uh-huh.
Did I get the term right? I mean, English is my first language, but for some reason, I don't know.
Totally depends
I went
on what
14. I don't recommend going 14 if you're going to gear sockets and colors.
You should just say at all.
Mods.
Come on.
No.
Yes, you should.
The point of video games is to have fun.
That's
not to play
fun.
it somebody else's certain way. And I have more fun in PoE than you. I've taken a survey on a hidden Discord channel that you're unaware of, and everybody thinks that I have way more fun in Path of Exile than you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. It was a vote. It was unanimous.
I wouldn't disagree. You probably have a lot of fun in Path of Exile. I don't know how hitting that return to checkpoint is fun, but...
Well, my build got a lot better when you very kindly, just before the podcast, found the Glacial Hideout, which is exciting. And so thank you for keeping it open for me so I could find it along with others. But I'm loving, to answer your question, I love my build. I love curses. My favorite thing, besides minions or including minions in any game, is like debilitating the enemy. So no matter how strong, whether it's an AI or another user, no matter how strong they get, I love making them feel weak, pathetic, and slow. So slowing enemies is great in any video game, making them miss more or whatever. So my 3 auras are Frostbite for damage, but then Enfeeble and Temporal Chains. And with all the curse effectiveness on the tree, and including that medium jewel cluster you gave me that improves curse effectiveness even more, I just love walking around. I'm almost, except for the times that I've died, I'm unkillable. It's awesome.
I like that.
How about you?
So I'm playing Essence Drain Contagion. I still feel like I'm a little bit handicapped because I'm not getting the drops with the mods that I need, and I have spent a lot to try and craft some of the stuff that I want. And it's just not going the way that I want it to. So it's been fine. I think I'm 91 maybe. So I at least took forever, but finally got through 89. But it's been good. But I still feel like red maps are a struggle for me, which is weird.
To do them or to get them?
Oh no, to do them. I have lots, but like if I can't juice them up much. You know what I mean? Like I can't add much to it before it gets to be a bit of a struggle. And the biggest difficulty is with Essence Drain. You're doing 2 casts, and without having some, I don't know. I still need to do some playing around to tweak it a bit to make it stronger. But this week I had one night. Okay, I know I say this all the time. But I had an issue with Alva.
No way.
Her and I had a fight.
Oh my goodness. First one?
I had 2 this week. I don't think I told you about the second one. The first one. No, I'm going to tell you about the second one first.
You probably told your other group of friends.
The second, I know. I was like, oh my God, guys. Okay, I'll tell you about the second one first because it doesn't matter as much as the first one. My checklist that I'm using for Alva because I'm having to, for anyone who doesn't know, in order to get Alva from 6 to 7 requires Excel knowledge. It's ridiculous, but GGG is trying to train you in how to use either Google Sheets or Excel. You're going to need to work with a spreadsheet in order to actually get her from 6 to 7. It's just one of the requirements. It's part of the game. So I, of course, went and found a spreadsheet that I could use online, made a copy of it, started working off of it. I think yesterday night, I finally did the Alva Temple. Okay. And or like just another one. Went through it, and I always clear it. And then when I get back to where I open up the temple, mark off which ones that I've done, and then compare it to my checklist. I finished her temple, and I was like, what? Why? I didn't get any? Like none of these were new rooms. And by accident, I had opened up the one that was not my actual version. It was the one that was somebody else's, which had checks on it, right? Because it was just a copy of it. No. So I had completely built her temple useless to me. But that's kind of just been par for the course with Alva.
Oh,
that was the second one. But the first one, I have a lot of Alva missions right now that are red maps, which is not great for me because her, just building the temple you got to be quick. You got to be able to kill stuff fast. And I swear the temple mobs have like built-in chaos resistance.
There's something about some of them. Like they're like
quite
their
a bit
rares
stronger.
are those rares that have extra life upon extra life upon extra life.
Yeah. So I was playing one night. I had just an absolute garbage day. The day was super busy, super frustrating dealing with work. Got on to play some Path of Exile. Wasn't doing great in these red maps. And then I finally had one of Alva's rooms ready to go to the third tier. And it was one of the last ones that I needed. And I walked around one of the corners to open, one of the doorways or whatever. And just a billion spitters were like,
oh.
And before I mean, with Essence Drain, again, it's 2 casts, right? I feel like before Contagion even got off, I died. And I'm not sure I've ever alt-4'd a game faster. I hadn't finished the map. I still had 2 more Alvas left. I was like, nope, alt-4, I'm going. I'm out. And I just left. I was done with it.
Ah, it sucks.
Yep. So it was I had one of those days this week where I was just like, screw Path of Exile. I'm going to go watch TV. And it was great.
What did you watch?
I'm watching Walking Dead.
Oh, I remember you mentioning that. I don't remember if it was on the podcast, though.
No, it wasn't.
You haven't finished it, though, right? Okay, nope. So Discord folk, don't spoil stuff.
I
don't be spoil pricks. I am a spoil, like, don't even like breathe Walking Dead.
I don't remember.
I don't care.
Like maybe season 3. I don't remember. I just started watching it again because I was like, it's filler time. Plus, I'm pretty sure that's where we're headed right now. So,
well, I can't stand the show. I see some things that my wife has watched or whatever, but
you just don't like things that other people like.
That's right. If I didn't come up with the idea, if I didn't like it first, then I don't like it.
It's true.
But to one thing though that the Justin's story kind of reminds me of, a lot of the times people have like a bad session in PoE and then they'll like freak out about it online or something like that. They'll say, well, this is broken, this is dumb, this is ridiculous, but they've had like a bad day leading up to them gaming. Do yourself a favor and don't play PoE when you're in a pissy or you're in a grumpy mood. It's not anyone's fault. Like, we all have bad days, but, it's not GGG's fault your day sucked. And when you play this game, when you're in a good mood, that exact same stuff happens to you. And you're like, oh, that makes sense. I forgot to do this. But when you're in a pissy mood and you go and play, you think you're supposed to be invincible or something. So anyway, if you realize you're in a pissy mood and you're playing PoE and you're sucking, just maybe take a deep breath and don't post anything.
For me personally, I would never post anyway.
No, you don't post anything. Anyway, you've mentioned that if you were to make a guide, you would post it and then you would never look at it again.
I would never look at it again.
Awesome. And did you hear that?
I hear it every time.
What, my giggle?
Mm-hmm.
Can you make it manly?
No. So when I edit our podcast, just because there's so many other things going on and I have another podcast that I produce than just work in general.
Like this. Like that, right?
What?
Like clapping.
Oh, no. Okay. Oh. But when I edit our podcast, I listen to it at like 2 to 3 times speed.
Yeah.
So if you think your giggle sounds ridiculous in real time, you should hear it in 2 to 3 times because you're like a chipmunk on crack. It's awesome.
Anyway, I like listening to our podcast, hearing what we had to say, reminding myself, what did I forget to say? What did we talk about? And I also like kind of hearing how it works. It's good. It's edifying for the next podcast, right? So I listen to it once or twice throughout the week. And I was vacuuming the other day, and so it was like the 3rd time I've listened to it throughout the week, maybe. And I'm vacuuming in the bedroom, and it's playing on the Google Home thing in there, and I can't hear anything. And all of a sudden, I hear my high pitched giggle over the vacuum. That's the only part of the podcast I could hear.
At least you're having fun.
So I'm thinking I'm gonna man up a bit, and for the rest of the podcast, I'm just gonna talk in my late night voice.
That won't last you long at all.
Say something funny. Anyway, yeah.
I will say, I don't think it's always that high pitched.
Oh, you're very comforting. Thank you.
The most annoying thing that you do after you listen to podcasts, though, is apologize.
Sorry about that.
I get messages from Tyler. He'll be like, You know what? I just don't think we did that properly. I think maybe we should. Quickest screw you, Tyler. Nope. I think we're doing great. Okay,
Awesome.
so we have a lot to talk about in Path of Exile this week. This was a big week there were a lot of things that came up, a lot of changes, but we're obviously going to start with patch 3.10.1c, which came out this week. And there were a lot of stuff which we're going to talk about, some of them, but the primary thing that we're first going to chat about was this. I guess we're going to veer off a little bit. It's going to kind of take some side turns as we chat about it, but there was I don't know what you would call it. It's not really a skill in the game. It was a part of the game that so there was a notable within this new cluster system that allowed your auras to be affected by how many heralds you had running.
Right.
And what happened was within the game itself, there were things that the game considered auras that should not have been considered auras. And so it was buffing players to be extremely strong. Now, when this first got noticed and people started building builds around it, I assume it got out there through streamers. I assume they started like making it big, and I don't actually know how it got out. But at one point, GGG was asked, will you be nerfing this? Will this change? And there was a comment made that said, no, we don't do mid-league nerfs, which they don't. It's one of the greatest things with GGG is a lot of times they realize, hey, look, something might be a little bit strong. You can look back to past leagues. We've had Cyclone, we've had Minions. There have been leagues where one or two things were just stronger than everything else. Yeah. And they said, no, we don't do mid-league nerfs, and so we won't be doing anything with it.
And they had an internal discussion about it. It wasn't just something where somebody quickly typed, no, we're not going to change it. They looked at it, they discussed it, they did some math. They're like, no, we're fine.
Right. And they did admit later that they didn't give it as much time as they should have, but they did. They looked into it. And so fast forward a couple days, not that much, and it became very apparent that this was actually going to require a change. And I don't actually like using the word nerf. And we'll get into a discussion about sort of where we both fall. And I know that I'm going to disagree with a lot of the people who are loud at complaining. I don't think most players are going to disagree with what I'm going to say. I think the people who will disagree with what I think are the people who are loud, the people who got up there and started screaming and whining about it.
Okay.
To me, this was not a nerf. What they recognized was that there was something in the game that was combining and working with something that it was never meant to do. It wasn't like this was a skill that was overpowered. It was, oh, shoot, this skill actually interacts with things that it was not supposed to.
Right.
We need to stop that.
There was a tagging issue essentially within the node that was making non-auras auras and super strong.
Right. And to me, that's not a nerf to the skill. Now, I will just preface this whole conversation with the understanding that, yes, it does suck that GGG said they were not going to change it and then proceeded to change it. But that's all I'll say to be sympathetic at all to the people who may have been playing that build or felt that it was unfair for them to do this, because this was not a nerf. It wasn't, they didn't nerf a skill. They didn't go, hey, this skill is overpowered. It was a bug fix. If in fact, me and you were talking,
I really like that you say that. It is a bug fix.
Had it not been popular, had it not been out there and everybody knew about it, you'd have seen this fix just as one of the noted things under the bug fix that probably nobody would have even passed. You would have just passed it over.
Fixed.
And been like, oh, that's crazy.
Heralds don't count as auras internally. This doesn't impact you at all.
Well, it would have said something to the effect that we recognize that it was affecting things that should not have been tagged as auras, but it never ever would have been to the degree that it was had it not been made popular. And I have to only assume that it was through streamers, because I don't know where it got popular. Maybe it was posted on Reddit, but I don't feel bad that they nerfed it. And now, if you look back through multiple leagues, GGG, you ever find it weird saying GGG? It's a weird way for me to say it. Sometimes I debate, should I say grinding gear games? I feel like I'm stuttering and talking over myself, but if you look through multiple leagues, they have not done mid-league nerfs. It's very uncommon for them to make a change that would actually affect a build.
Yep.
And so for me, I feel like I'm just doing a lot of the talking right now, but I feel bad that they got to the point where they felt they needed to do, like for Bex.
Yeah.
She put out a huge post and she talked about how she felt bad about it and she's been feeling sick about it. And all I could think of was the people who are making her feel bad are dicks. And I don't care if they disagree with me, but this was not a nerf to a build. This was a bug fix.
Yep.
It wasn't them saying, you know, like in the past where minions were too strong, they never mid-league went, okay,
yep,
we're going to tone them down. Same with Cyclone. Good Lord. The Legion League. Yep. Cyclone was ridiculous. You did not see any mid-league changes to Cyclone. Now, had you seen Cyclone interacting with parts of the game that it was never meant to, of course they should fix that. It's a bug fix. It's not a nerf.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very big thing. There was a brief discussion on Discord with it. And I kind of had mentioned too there that I'm sure I'm going to have a very different opinion than some of the loud people on Reddit. But I feel like the majority of players would not look at this and go, well, this is unfair.
Yeah. The thing that Bex mentioned that she felt terrible about, and I think the reason that there was a lot of explanations from GGG on this are because they originally said they weren't going to change it. And with that came, like you mentioned, people greatly investing into it so that they could have a crazy OP build like Minions or like Cyclone, like you mentioned in the previous league. So they're okay, great, sweet. We're going to have this crazy OP build. It'll be great. I'll get all the content. Maybe I'll do content I've never done before. And then they went back on what they said. Now, they did it for all the right reasons, and they greatly apologized for not looking into it even further when it was originally brought to their attention. But I'm really glad they fixed it instead of hanging on to their word, because it does impact the game. You know what I mean? Like, sure, they've learned from it as a company, but like, I can see where they feel bad because they said they wouldn't change it. And they took all these people's time and currency and then didn't. But at the same time, I'm with you. I don't really feel bad. You know what they said? Remember when we were talking about this and we were kind of going over the post together beforehand? They said that this is probably the most overpowered thing they've ever had in the game. That is mind-boggling to me. We've been playing, you've been playing since the beginning. I've been playing for a long time, and some of the stuff that's so overpowered that just like annihilates things in seconds. I'm like, and this is the most powerful thing they've ever seen in the game. And like you said, as a bug, it's good that they fixed it. It is. It sucks if you were somebody that invested everything into it, but at the same time, you'll be able to make something that can still get your currency back. Like the game has 1,000 billion options for you to make another character. And it's not like your character's broken.
No, in fact,
your character still works really well.
Absolutely. You could still be playing that same build and be doing fine. It's just you're not going to be invincible and crushing the entire game, which I guess I have a bit of a difference where maybe I could say, or I could agree a little bit that you feel bad for them. But in my head, I'm going, well, if you had the currency to pay for how much this stuff was a month into the league, go make it again.
Yeah.
And if you came across that currency in a way that you're not meant to in this game, the hell with you. I don't care. I don't feel bad. It was a bug fix. I could 100% agree if this was a nerf to a skill. It was not a nerf to a skill. It was a fix to a bug.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I feel bad that Grinding Your Games felt bad about it. I feel bad that Bex, I hope that she was just being polite and being the community manager saying, I really feel bad. Because I feel like, I hope so, because I put myself in that position and somebody would have had to wrote for me what she said. There's no way I could ever say that myself.
Yeah.
I hope she didn't actually feel bad because they didn't do anything wrong.
Well, I don't think they'd put you as community manager.
No, that's true. But I think it's silly because if there's something in the game, I again completely understand on the side of like they said they weren't going to do it and then they did it.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they did it because this wasn't a nerf.
Yeah. You still need to, even if it means going back on what you said. So I appreciate the integrity of the company from that regards. I feel more bad for GGG.
Sure, I don't feel bad for the players even a tiny bit.
Nope.
And you know who I feel the least bad for is those turds that are on Reddit going, I'm never playing again. I'll never pay Grinding Your Games any money ever again.
Bye.
Right? See ya.
Yep.
It's ridiculous. And thankfully, I saw on Bex's post, the people responding to that were overwhelmingly supportive,
Good.
which is awesome.
Yep. And I really hope, I mean, they say they read everything, and I must be exhausting to do so, but I really hope that they did take their time to go through and that the encouraging notes do stand out to them.
If you scrolled through it even super, super fast, you wouldn't see very many negative things in them. The odd one I saw that was somebody was just like, too late, not paying ever again. And I just thought, oh man, if I could just delete a character or a person, that would be the one.
Imagine being that person like we were talking about before about you paying real money for the currency that somebody else would farm for you so that you could buy this build.
Sure.
Makes me smile.
I don't have a problem with that.
No.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that.
And the thing is, in the end, if you bought all this stuff, go play the build. It's not nerfed. It's not like this build doesn't function. In fact, now it functions the way it's supposed to.
Oh.
So enjoy playing the game the way it's supposed to. They fixed the bug for you. You're welcome.
That's right.
Now
You're
you
welcome.
can play the
now
game
you can
the way
play
it was meant
PoE
to.
and you have choices to make. Should I run this map or not? But
Just walk through everything.
310.1c had a lot of really good improvements. And I'm really happy for console folk while we're on the subject because they got that patch already. It just came out and it was like a day and a half later it was out on console. So high five GGG. Thanks for doing that. A couple highlights that I took. It was actually a huge quality of life patch. So normally we skim through patch notes pretty quick because there's a couple quality of life and then just tons of fixes and fixes.
Well, we're even doing that here. Like this is the stuff that kind of just stands out.
Yeah, but there's a lot of standouts. So there was a ton of Delirium improvements, making it still challenging, but a lot more stable and I guess user friendly would be the word. You know, you're more visually aware of everything that's happening. As we mentioned that. Oh, so that node that we just talked about for half an hour, that's called Purposeful Harbinger. That was changed.
And it still works.
It does. It does. The Cyrus fight was tweaked. There's now certain skills that he doesn't do together. I guess
they've been literally working on that fight since the beginning of the year.
And
I don't know why they didn't just leave it alone.
I think they'll be. It does. Yeah. It seemed really good last league. I mean, at the end of last league, it seemed good. Anyway, now it's, even though there was one tweak, I think there's still lots that they're doing. They changed a lot on how conquerors spawn before your first Cyrus fight. So there's not as much doubling up, or there's not as much of an ability to spawn a conqueror and then not get a watchstone. They're really minimizing that in the most natural way possible.
I think you actually can't now. I think isn't it changed almost so much that you can't? It literally warns you in your face when you put a map into the map device now. It's amazing.
Right. It's awesome. So they say when you put a map in there, if it's for a region, or it doesn't matter. If you put a map in that's too low of a level, it'll give you a warning saying, hey, this isn't going to help you in your quest to further gain influence for your conqueror, but run it if you like. So that's awesome. And if you have a map tab, the map tabs, when you know how they used to always show no matter the tier, if you had, let's say, the warlord, what's warlord? Red, right? If they had the warlord spawned in an area and you were looking to further that influence, or I guess it's not furthering influence, but you know what I mean.
So what he means is if in let's say Lex Proxima is where one of the conquerors was, if you typed Lex Proxima into the maps tab, you used to see everything from tier 1 all the way up to tier 16. But now we'll only show you the ones that are at the level that it would affect that conqueror, which is awesome.
Well, not just from the search function, but just visually without the search, it'll show.
Oh yeah, you're
the
right. I see what you're saying.
Color,
the little icon or whatever around
the actual map tab, which is really cool. Let's see. There's a lot of other quality of life stuff, and I've said this lots since 310 has come out, but I want to say it again. There's been so much quality of life effort put in, even things that people haven't been complaining about, or there haven't been much vocal complaining about. They've put in so many cool quality of life things this league compared to other ones. It's almost like I want one big release, like the March release every year is big, and then the next 3 for that year are small, and they just like quality of life stuff to fill it in, kind of like how this one. This has been one of my favorite leagues because of all the cool stuff they've been able to
add. I do agree with regards to this 3.1.1 or 3.10.1c. Delirium to me is still not enjoyable. I love the Delirium influenced maps when you influence it with an orb. I still am not a big fan of the Delirium function within just a regular map when you come across it. And we did one with an orb. Me and you did one this week with an orb. It
awesome.
is so much more enjoyable.
Yeah. And then
it's so much more enjoyable. Let me play it at my pace.
And then the simulacrum.
Yeah, we did one of those.
Is that how it is? Simulacrum.
Simulacrum.
Oh, that was awesome. Goodness me, that was fun. I didn't complete it, and thanks for letting me use up a couple portals. That was fantastic, and like I really like it. But there are a couple things in this game, and I guess Delirium would be an example. The end content is awesome. Like once you're running a whole map that always has it, but the content leading up to it needs to be fun for all kinds of builds too. Now, if you have a crappy build, you have a crappy build, but
sure,
it's kind of like the Alva thing. You hate getting there, but once you actually have the temple, it's great. But you hate getting there. And it's kind of the same thing with Delirium. You have to enjoy the entire... There's min-maxers and there's not min-maxers. For me, I min-max my guide, but then once I'm playing, I'm fine. Like, I don't hate the process and the fog fading away from me as much as you do, but you are a much faster and more efficient player than I am. So I could see it bothering you a lot more than me.
So the reason, though, that it bothers me is because if the idea that it lasts long enough for you to loot, I just disagree with. Like, especially if I look down at the bottom left of my screen and I'm like, oh my God, it's currency and
maps.
I don't know, whatever. Yeah, maps or something like that.
Yeah.
If I start to see the back end of that fog, I'm not picking up anything. I am just like running as fast as I can, trying to move up as much as I can, which then inevitably means I have to backtrack. I don't have a fix. I'm not saying that I have like some solution that's better than that. Maybe that just is what it is. But I guess make the orbs drop more common and make the simulacrum not cost 300. It's ridiculous.
What, should it be 100 like everything else?
Sure, why not?
You don't find the shards too common?
That we're 300? A month in.
Yeah.
I've played this league quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I've done it once. Now, I'm not trying to use that as any sort of gauge, because obviously there are people out there that play this game a lot.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be who you're building it around. I've been able to enjoy the simulacrum one time in the whole month now that this league's been out, and I have been playing endgame quite a bit. That to me, that's not enough. I've gotten the orbs are at least a reasonable drop. I think I've had 5 or 6 of them, but even that's a little bit low, given that it's one map and then it's gone. So I don't really know what the solution is, but I absolutely love a Delirium orb affected map.
Maybe that's for our hour of play though. Maybe that's what they were thinking of for us or for you, the person that puts in 15 hours a week as opposed to 80. And maybe this,
and you get to do the very, very end game one time in a month. That means I'll get 3 of them by the end of the league. That it to me, it's too low.
I don't think that's what they're thinking, but maybe that's what we need to set our expectations
it's
at.
Kind of a hard game to balance around. But if you took streamers out of it who are obviously spending a ton of time playing and very, very min-maxing their stuff, if players didn't see them play, I think GGG would tone their game way differently.
Yeah.
Than what they do now. Because I feel like sometimes stuff is focused more towards what other people are seeing someone play versus how they're actually playing themselves.
So let's say the Delirium let's say Delirium goes core after 310.
Sure.
Let's say it's just, I don't know how they would do it. Maybe you would just get rid of the fog in a map and you would just get splinters, right? Sure. And there would be an orb drop or whatever. Mm-hmm. So what would you change it? What would you change then? It would be 100?
I would make it 100, and I actually feel like
simulacrum.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. If I'm trying to think in my head right now, if you took out the mirror and you just had orbs slightly increased in their drop, and the simulacrum splinters could just drop like from bosses, just as a random drop, maybe it was a currency drop, and you needed 100 of them, I actually wouldn't mind that. I don't know how how they'll ever put in like the whole large, medium, and small clusters, because I hope that if that goes core, which I imagine it must, I hope it's not tied into Delirium mobs.
Yeah, I guess you could add a lot of the cool features that they added with Delirium without even adding Delirium.
Just take away the
You
mirror,
could just have
increase the orb
shards.
drops, or change or just have them as drops, and you still can get the splinters, just like you get the. I mean, you get them through breaches, but I don't know what you would do for,
Yeah, I guess you could just have them as a normal drop.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the solution would be, but I don't like the feeling of having to be rushed through something, and then you are certainly. I understand that they increase the timer, and that's how they've done it, and that's good. That I at least like the fact that they stick to their guns and say they did it. I just disagree with it.
Yeah,
I feel like it does not give me enough time to loot
Mm.
when I'm trying to maximize the kills that I get while under the delirium effect. But
you got to admit though, the changes that they've made have been good.
Sure.
Really good.
Really
good.
Especially outside of the delirium stuff, because like the actual gameplay stuff they've changed has been great.
Yeah, for sure. There are a few more things happened this week in PoE Land as well. It was a very busy week for them. Let's see, they gave out another new soundtrack for those that actually like their music. I love the music that they do. When they came out with music for hideouts that you could change it, that was like, yep, okay, guaranteed. I'm not waiting for a sale for that business. I am putting money into that right away. I couldn't believe it was that cheap too. I think it was $5 for us where we come from.
Nobody where we come from?
Yep, nobody knows where we live, eh? But anyway, it was the, how do you say this? Thaumaturgy?
Thaumaturgy.
It's not thaumaturgy, it's
thaumaturgy.
Yeah. And then they had a lot of new MTX come out. It was like an MTX explosion. Maybe that's something that you can easily do from home. Stormbind was one of those like new channeling skills that put the squares on the ground, kind of like Baron. That one got a nice skin. What was it? A gore skin. But it made me a little bitter because I remember when I was excited for the Minion League and zombies got one skin. Do you remember what the skin was? Celestial. And it was awesome. Like the one skin that I hate. And I wanted it to be anything else, even something that matched the clowns. But I didn't get it. So I was secretly, even a gore zombie would have been cool. But anyway. So yeah, but it looks really good, the Stormbind one. They came out with a whole whack load of Stygian. I swear English is my second language. Is that how you say it? Stygian?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. A whole bunch of them. Weapons, different skill effects, so many. And then I saw that they came out with the Stygian effect for raised specters. And I'm like, what the? I have that. I bought it like 4 years ago. Remember what Stygian used to look like? Kind of like remember what Celestial used to look like? They called it Black Hole. And they still exist. There's the Black Hole Frostbolt. There's the Black Hole Vortex. It's just this, and you would see the stars underneath, but it didn't have any gold. Well, the old Stygian effect was like gray and black, but it was all drippy and gross. Yeah, and so I had the Stygian. I swear it was called the Stygian Raised Spectre. And when they came out with this, I'm like, what? And then I went and looked for mine. I couldn't find it. So then I looked for, instead of Stygian, I looked for Raised Spectres in the microtransaction list.
Yep.
They changed it to Ebony. It's now the Ebony Raised Spectre list. I don't know if they did that 3 years ago or if they did that yesterday, but that was sneaky. So I was secretly bitter about this one too, even though the new Stygian skill effects look amazing. You should check them out if you have money to spend.
Yeah.
I think they're cool. And they added for a lot of skills.
You saw they won the BAFTA award?
Oh my goodness. Congratulations, GGG. BAFTA is huge. Good for you. Did you see? Okay, so what did they win the BAFTA for?
Best Evolving.
Best Evolving game of the...
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Which is pretty crazy given that the game came out in like 2012.
Oh.
Which, you know what? If you came out in 2012 and you're as good and as big as PoE in 2020... you kind of deserve this award.
Oh my goodness. And they've been getting better every year. It's not like their numbers are fluctuating. It's just a constant increase. Now, did you see the list of who they beat? Did you see the crazy popular games that they beat? The vote was between PoE, Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers, Destiny 2, Apex Legends, Fortnite. And No Man's Sky. But oh my goodness, those 3 of those games are insane money makers online.
Yeah, but if I was looking at those games and thinking of Best Evolving, to be honest, the only one in that list that even comes close is No Man's Sky, and only because it came out such a monstrous flop.
Well, it was broken. That's not evolving. That's just...
yeah, it is.
Well, then you could say every Assassin's Creed game that came out in their pre-alpha when they released it was Best Evolving.
Yeah, but they just didn't make the list. None of those other ones to me have. None of those. No, I mean, I don't really play too many of those other ones. But Destiny 2. How is Destiny 2 on a best evolving game list?
Well, they were huge games, and GGG did an awesome job to win it. So good for you. Awesome. Very good for you. And they said one thing when GGG announced this on their own website with their announcement. They also said the pinnacle, this is GGG talking, the pinnacle of our game's evolution is our vision for Path of Exile 2. We can't wait until the next time we reveal more of what we have planned. I haven't heard them mention Path of Exile 2 since ExileCon. That's like 6, 7, 8 months ago. That was summertime. It's April. Oh my goodness, it's almost a year. So I'm super excited for the next stuff that they start revealing. Ascendancies. And one last little thing I want to shout out one of our Discord users that helped me out. The Walls, console player. Yeah. I didn't know this because I don't buy stuff. I basically play solo self-found. I sell, but I'd never look for buying. But on console, they have a very different trade system where you basically just get like a splurge of base types. You're looking, okay, I want sorcerer boots. So you're looking at all the base types for sorcerer boots, and then you have one keyword that you can search for. And then it highlights it and you scroll through all the pages. A lot of people, they just post stuff with no price, right? They're just, okay, well, people have to scroll through it, so they'll take a look. You can use, see, the Walls calls it a tilde. I don't know what that word is, so I call it a squiggly. But anyway, there's a little squiggly thing on your keyboard, the tilde. And if you use that as a console player, it highlights all the items on the page that have a price. So you don't have to waste your time as much with your scrolling. Little tidbit.
Now, and also an additional little tidbit to stop wasting your time is just play on PC.
Nope. Yeah. That is an incorrect
turn
tidbit.
That console off, turn that PC on, you will be a happy person. It's a fact. I've seen some scientific fact around that.
So anyway, that's a big week in PoE Land.
It was, yeah. Lots of
ginormous one. And Bex and everyone else that had something to do with that notable changing. Good for you. Good for you. We hope you're not taking it too much to heart. We think you're all doing a fantastic.
Screw them.
That's another way to say it. Yes,
that's right.
So as I was playing this week, I didn't realize it, but all of a sudden the things that I was typing in our apps, our subject list here, it was like I accidentally started making a wish list. Would you like to hear
break it down for me? I can't wait. Hold on, though. If I say there can't be any filter or console stuff, do you still have stuff to say?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Oh, boy.
I'm just going to read it. Are you ready?
But then I'm going to remember after I've
read it. What?
And quiet time, that's because I had to edit it out.
Oh, you're a jerk. All right. So you know what I wish? Let me tell you what I wish. I wish that the heads-up display in Path of Exile showed what ascendancy you are. That's what I wish. Well, I know the user doesn't need to know, but GGG does seem to care about, the broadcasters, the people that are putting.
Gosh.
No. So when I'm watching someone play, I'm like, oh, I want to know what ascendancy they are.
Can't they just put that in their notes or a title or something?
I don't know. They don't. You don't. Okay,
so your first wish list, I disagree with.
This isn't in any particular order. Come on, it's not. I didn't think this was like American Funniest Home Videos where I had to announce that it's not in any particular order. So anyway, I thought it would be kind of nice, just a little icon next to your health bar, saying, "Hey, look, you're the gladiator. So the little picture. Way to go!"
Now, what about for the people that don't know what the icons are for each of the ascendancies?
Well, then they're very new to the game and they're just lucky to be watching.
You just screw them ties? Is that what you're saying? Screw the new people?
99% of the people.
You heard it here.
Okay, so you'll see this gladiator icon. I don't know. Maybe let's say it's in the health bar, right near the health bar. Little gladiator icon, little occultist, whatever it is. It's just your ascendancy. It's not going to have your starting witch or duelist. It'll just be.
It doesn't show until you've picked an ascendancy?
Or it changes just like your picture does, right? when you're in the passive tree picture.
Right, you don't see that.
I know,
anywhere.
So you get the little face and it changes when your passive tree changes. It's a wish list, okay? Hush your mush. You know what else I wish?
I love that idea.
I wish. So you remember how 99% of the time I used to die to those, what are the purple enemies called? I forget what they're called. They came from a league. where it was like their main mechanic, and then they just added them to, what are the purple enemies called? The ones that have the special effects, right? Sometimes they get bigger. It was like
the Nemesis one or something.
Yes, Nemesis.
Yeah.
So, remember those Nemesis enemies that would leave like every one of them that would die, they'd explode in a big like fire AoE or lightning AoE or something. And I would die to them all the time because there was a very important wisdom scroll that I needed and I couldn't see these effects. So one day,
super fun.
They made
it used to literally run into it. We would kill the mob group. I would move, and you'd be just strolling right into the middle of it, and then poof.
La da 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 da. So let's see if there's anything under this boulder. And
that's right. Now we hear you scream.
Hey, but I'm not dying to them.
But
as
you don't
much.
die.
So anyway, they're a lot brighter now, which is great. I want them to do that to exploding corpses. Exploding corpses to me have the same effect as these Nemesis monsters used to. I can't see it. There's too much on the ground and the maps are always dark, almost always dark. So for me to
see exploding corpses.
Well, that's the point. I don't, but they're killing me like crazy. At all. Oh, it's a huge, they're everywhere. Okay. They're
outside
everywhere.
Of Delirium?
Just
where?
All over the place. I play core. I don't even play Delirium. Well, I mean, on console, I haven't been playing Delirium, and I've been dying from corpses long before Delirium existed.
I think you're dying to something.
I think you just move too fast. Okay, you don't pick up wisdom scrolls.
So what do you wish they would do? Make them brighter?
Well, not brighter, just more noticeable. Like right now, I can barely see them, and I can't tell you how long it took me. What's Clarissa's boyfriend's name? Remember Clarissa from Tomlin. He's one of the map bosses, one of the many map bosses that exists in the game. Mm-hmm. It took me forever to figure out where that damage was coming from, and I finally realized he just explodes corpses. I couldn't see it for the life of me.
I swear it's marked.
Oh, I hate you. Anyway, that's what I wish. I also wish...
This is a good list so far.
Even more than the excitement that I have for the game slowing down, which is one of the most exciting things I have for Path of Exile.
Yeah, so far they've done a great job of that.
Okay, just I'm excited for it to happen, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I wish for map mods to only improve enemies. I hate that they impact us.
Okay, so only affect the enemy, not have any impact on the player.
Right. So let me give you like old school example. I was really excited when I forget her name, Jade. Oh, I forgot her name already. The creator of the Assassin's Creed series long ago. I used to love games like Splinter Cell and sneaky stealth games. So the idea of like Assassin's Creed coming out was really cool. It was supposed to be a trilogy, supposed to take you back to like biblical times and then a whole bunch of other really cool historical landmarks. You're earning all your skills as you're going. Granted, it's not a role-playing game, but you're earning your skills and you're getting excited to learn them. You're putting a lot of effort into the game. At the very end of the game, you don't use any of your skills. You just go, you're just using this orb to do everything. So all these skills you've learned throughout the whole game, all of a sudden you're at the end of the game and you do nothing. It has absolutely nothing to do with anything. And it drove me nuts. And it's the same kind of thing here. Like, let's say I'm doing a Righteous Fire build, right? And then then I'm like, okay, oh, well, negative to my max resists. Oh, shoot, I can't do that. Oh, negative to my life regen. Oh, shoot, I can't do it. Can't regen life. Oh, no, I can't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm at endgame. My build works fine. It drives me nuts when all of a sudden there's content in the game that tells me your build's fine, but you can't use it for this.
Okay. So, but in the suggestion, I'm not actually disagreeing with your idea. I actually don't think it's a bad idea, but wouldn't that mean that a ton of map effects would just be gone?
Yeah, but think about how many other things you could do. Like, imagine if every build had exploding corpses. That was one of the map mobs.
In your thought, though, you just want something that makes them better or stronger.
Right. Or terrifying. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So my build is always going to work. Now, I get that there's currency in the game, and part of the game is having currency to reroll maps. But
yeah, I don't actually like that side of it. I don't like having to reroll a map.
I think for me, map rolling, my preference is you should reroll a map because you don't like what you have. And if you want to waste currency to roll a map that you don't like, as opposed to one you can't do, to me, there's a big difference. And
I think there's a difference between one that you can't do because it's too hard and you can't do because it's impossible.
Right. So
I have a problem with the impossible.
Right. Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. So even if it's something like temporal chains, You could say, like, the map has temporal chains, but you could say, like, I don't know, every monster casts temporal chains or something. So you could choose, like, okay, well, I hate moving slow, I'm not going to roll temporal chains. But to me, when I'm finally, like, I'm skimping along my T15s and 16s, and it's like, oh, I can't regen energy shield, and I'm CI, and I don't leech. Okay, so now I'm just wasting this map. And if you're solo self-found, like, goodness me, especially if it's corrupted.
What if they just took out those? I would say there's a handful of just flat out build stopping effects. Can't leech, can't regen,
even slowing regen.
Reflect,
but then there's
reflect.
Oh, reflects are
except
brutal.
The thing is, if you take reflect out, you have to change ascendancies. Like there's things in the game that protect you from reflect. So by taking that stuff out, you'd have to redo some of the things in the game.
But what's the point in removing them from Val side areas? It's the same thing.
The only thing I can think of is that you rolled the map with mods that you could do. It would be really unfair to get something within there that you can't affect. You can't change it.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So.
But it's the same thing. You get a Xana. You get a Xana thing. Like I the other day I was playing with my RF character, and all 4, she only rolled 4 maps that I could do, and all 4 of them had no life regen.
Yeah, I've had
Are you kidding?
It sucks.
Well, so it sucks. But same thing. You walk up to a Val side area and it has reflect, and you didn't decide to go with being immune to reflect for your damage type. Okay, like that sucks.
Well, there's very few options to go immune to a reflect type.
But that's my point. And even if they went the other way, those you can easily make an ascendancy powerful by removing whatever reflect mod they have. But anyway,
yeah, it's an interesting idea.
I like the idea of actually being able to do all content, and the only reason I'm re-rolling a map is because of preference. And to me, then it would be wasting currency, or it'd be valuable to me to do something more preferred. Anyway, thanks. I'm glad you actually agreed with one.
I'm not flat out disagreeing. Okay.
It's impressive. I think this is my last thing on my I wish list for episode 21. I would love to see how much time I've put into each character that I play. So for example, I log in with Steam when I play Path of Exile, and Steam tells you how much you put into a game. I think that's really cool. I would love to see a timestamp by each character in my created list.
Like, you can't see it once you're in game.
Where?
/played.
Well, you can't /play it on console.
You can't type anything in console?
No, there's no.
Well, who cares though? In PC, you can type /played.
Well, for you PC players, I didn't know that. Now you do.
Yep. /played will tell you how much time you've wasted on one single character.
So anyway, there's my I wish list.
I don't have an I wish list. You know why? Because I think Grinding Gear Games is doing a great job.
I do too. And I hope they have a fantastic Christmas.
Yeah. I was just going to say. Hopefully
Christmas in July.
You know, one thing that they did change that we both noticed just this week is I don't think we ever brought it up on a podcast, but in the past, last league, because it was the first league for it, with the Drox fight. It was super frustrating because you would kill Drox, and for some reason, magical mobs would still come in from the 4 corners and attack you. And it was quite hard if the fight had been difficult for you to all of a sudden, and you could actually be getting hit from a mob that was in the like mist that you couldn't see. And so that was a super frustrating for both of us. We talked about it. And this week we did a Drox fight. No more mobs.
Wasn't it great?
They all disappear. Yeah.
I'm a full fan of when the boss dies, everything's dead.
That was on my wish list.
Aw, you did have a wish list. I wish.
And they did it.
Yeah, they did do it. That was awesome. I don't know when they fixed it. I mean, maybe this is a month old and we just noticed it, but
I don't think it was in last league at all.
I think they fixed it just before we went into the map. They did it for us.
Probably.
I agree. There was a cool note that I saw with GGG it was in the console patch notes. But I wanted to share it because I think this was really awesome of GGG. So on console, this was for the Xbox version. So I'm going to use A. What is it in PlayStation? X? Is X your bottom button? Anyway.
Sure.
So they're saying, so A on console, for those that don't play console, is how you interact with all your NPCs. It's what you use to pick up all the items on the ground, but it's also one of the 8 buttons you can use to cast a skill. And so there's been a bug. It was just reintroduced in 3.10 where The game was having a hard time deciding if you're trying to pick up an item, interact with an NPC, or cast your A skill. And so they wrote this. I'll read it to you, and then I'll tell you why I love it. The bug with instant skills bound to A was unable to be resolved for this patch due to technical complications in the work from home situation. This issue remains high priority. I love that. Like, so many times you could say, oh, GG, I can't tell you how many people I've wanted to punch through my screen saying, well, not you, because I can see you and you're beautiful, but people are like, oh, GG, they don't care. They didn't respond to my bug report, this and that and another thing. And like, they have so much they have to deal with. And I mean, they're dealing personally with COVID like everybody else. And they're working from home. And so I thought it was really thoughtful. Instead of ignoring the situation where one of your skills, you actually only have 7, buttons that you can use instead of 8. Big deal in console land. They came out and said, we know this is a big deal, but because we're working from home, we can't do it. But this is a high priority issue. It was really thoughtful of them to even bring it up. And instead of saying, suck it up, saying this is the reason we can't fix it and it's high priority. And since this comment, they fixed it in maps so it can tell the difference between looting and when you want to cast your skill, but it still has a difficult time with NPCs. But still,
That's still pretty good.
I thought I just want to give them a shout out for that because I really appreciate that. And we all know, as much as I love to say that console is the superior platform for this game, which it is, that obviously the console players, there's a lot less people that play console that play PC. So for them to go out and say this to one of their smaller communities is even more thoughtful. Right?
You make me sick.
Why? It was a nice thing they did.
Console.
Now,
yeah, sure.
So while we're on the subject
of
Baron's influence,
uh-huh.
Tell you what I love about guide titles. You know those squares that are in Baron's influence map areas? Yeah. Like Baron's the lightning guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can tell I play.
You're talking about like as you're trying to unlock him.
Yeah.
As you're going through.
And the maps that have his influence in the area, they'll shoot their lightning beams that look like fire at you and all this stuff. But then sometimes there's those huge squares in the way. I had no clue. I just thought they degened your life. I didn't know they degened your mana. Did you know that they drained your mana as well?
I don't know if I've ever actually noticed. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's because you're a fast player. I didn't know.
I don't tend to stand.
Well, you have to pick things up.
There's freaking wisdom scrolls.
Yeah, they're scrolls of wisdom. Actually, I've been saying it wrong too. But I didn't know they drain your mana. Here I am. I'm trying to cast my vortex. I have no mana. And I'm thinking there's something wrong with my build. What did I do? The second I step out of it, I start regenerating my mana again.
It's a cool story. Speaking of scrolls of wisdom and wisdom scrolls, just one thing I'm going to throw out here.
I hate you.
We talked about this week. It's time for them to go. It's time for the scroll of wisdom or wisdom scrolls to be removed from this game. Portal scrolls are already unnecessary. You can get the portal skill. It's really not hard to get because there's a freaking ascendancy for it now too.
Yeah.
I'm done with portal. I'm done with scrolls of wisdom.
I hear you.
It's time for them to go. I don't know what the solution is, or if there's just like, it's such a waste of time. There's no reason for them.
I did just now. I was 100% on board with you like my entire life until just this moment. I thought of her. Oh, it's gone.
There's nothing. That's
no,
why.
There is because otherwise in your loot filter.
I don't care about loot filters.
No, but in your loot filter, you could then specify which mods you want. Okay, I'm never picking up boots unless they have life and movement speed. But when items aren't identified, you can't filter items that way.
What's the problem with that? Aren't you just picking up less stuff? Isn't that good?
I think that would be awesome, actually.
And you know what? Okay, don't make them so that they're still unidentified. And then when I'm back in town, I can like hit one button and it just identifies everything in my inventory.
Or you have to pick it up and then it's auto ID'd, but you can't see the mods when it's on the ground.
Maybe it's not. Yeah, perfect. There's no information to it besides just what its base is when it drops.
When we are rich and famous, I want to ask GGG when their items get their mods.
What?
Like what part of the process?
I'm pretty sure it's when it's dropped. I'm pretty certain it's when it's dropped.
Not when it's
I feel
ID'd?
like there's probably something out there. I don't think so. I don't know.
I want to write this in Trello right now, but I don't want to go clickety clack on the keyboard in the podcast.
Anyway, I think get rid of them.
Huh. Yeah, I concur. I also think that portal scrolls should go, and it should be like a cooldown, and everybody just gets a normal portal. It's just a cooldown, like, or a cast time, like a 2-second cast time to get your portal up.
Yeah, we talked about that. I
Mhm.
struggle on that one because there's sometimes where being able to get out real quick is it like that's how you can get your flasks back on a tough fight or something. So
Come
some
on,
of us
just play
don't
the game.
like
Just stay in the
500
fight,
deaths.
tough guy. Stay in the
Some
fight.
of us don't like to be into the triple freaking digits for death, pushing
Hey.
4
Hey.
quadruple.
It's a dungeon crawler. I'm ready to bleed for the loot. Okay. So we're in a private league this time around, and thanks to everyone that's joined so far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm also really enjoying being on the front page of the league again. That's very exciting. But
Hopefully that doesn't last long, guys. Get on it.
but it's really cool. And typically, what happens when I just get on, when I load Path of Exile, I'll look to see who's on my friends list, and I'll invite Justin and Ethan and Frenzy to my friends list, or to the party. And even though sometimes we don't play together, it's just cool to see each other in the party. It's like a little bond. And I guess sometimes I forgot that we were in a private league. So Ethan left the private league, right? Went to go sell some stuff. I don't even remember if Frenzy joined or not. And it says, what's the warning thing that it tells you? It says, this character is out of your league and you know it. That's rude. Yep. I didn't know. I didn't remember. And it shows that thing. When you accidentally are looking at the wrong league, when you're looking at a trade site, and then you go and you post like, message, hey, yeah, I'd like this character's out of your league and you know it. Stick it.
I like it.
I think it's dumb. I think it should be polite.
It is polite.
And I think they should apologize more than once.
They're not like calling you an idiot.
I'm sorry, like, but this player is in another league. Please try again. We're really sorry.
That would be terrible.
What about? That would
be terrible.
What about wrong league? Sorry.
How about they? I think they should just get nastier.
And
I can't say the things I'm thinking, but
whatever.
I like it. Well, I think that's it. I think we've wrapped up. That was a big week for PoE.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that was a great podcast because we did that last time and it was really funny. And then when I re-listened to it, I was like, man, we were right. We were right. Yeah, it's been a good week in PoE. I mean, hopefully everybody's getting a lot of time to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of people not working right now, so do some Path of Exile.
Yeah.
And even for those people who cried and whined, you know, the nice thing for you is PoE's got a great community. They'll welcome you back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We'll forget the dick things you said, and we'll all move on.
We won't even know it was you.
No, you can play a new build. Mm-hmm. There's a billion of them.
Mm-hmm. Including the one you have.
You could still play it, and guess what? You'll still kill stuff. Anyway, it's been a good episode. This has been Forever Exile, the Path of Exile podcast, episode 21. I'm Justin, aka Tags.
Tyler, Wrecker of Days.
Thanks a lot for joining us. You can check out the show notes below for any information. Sometimes we link stuff, sometimes we don't. We have a private Discord that you're welcome to join. You can find us on Twitter at ForeverExiled82 and on internet www.foreverexiled.com. Peace.
See ya.